Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about there, but the first thing I wanted to ask you about, which I was like really, I guess, happy to see, is the whole the Cannibal Corpse Kourtney Kardashian thing. So for anybody that didn't see it, there's a picture of Travis Barker with obviously from Blink 182. I think he's wearing a Cramps shirt, and he's out and about with his girlfriend. Kourtney Kardashian, and she's wearing a Cannibal Corpse Eaten Back to Life shirt. And, all the metal people were angry, including Chris Barnes. And you were kind of going off for like a day or two about this on Twitter. And I think I really liked what you had to say about it. Can you kind of talk about your point of view on that?
Sure, I do understand that people feel like this is their band, their music, their genre. And when somebody else who is not part of the genre and probably doesn't know much about the genre is wearing their shirt, they seem to kind of get offended. And I understand, but it's kind of funny because, you know, people who are in the metal genre, especially when I was going through school, we were looked down upon. You know what I mean? People looked down on us. They judged us for what we were wearing, the t-shirts we were wearing, the music we were listening to, the people who we hung out with, the stoners, you know what I mean? And people look down at us. And I understand, that some people are still going through that now. Um, but who are we to judge? You know what I mean? We shouldn't be the ones judging them for what they wear. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
It's just
that's
you're just doing the same thing that they did to you.
correct. It's kind of like being hypocrites for sure. But I'm for like, hey man, if if you really look at it, the Kardashians have probably worn more metal shirts than I've ever worn.
True.
You know what I mean? I'm talking about the Kardashians as a whole. Slayer, Metallica, Cannibal
Right.
Corpse, Morbid Angel.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
There's the picture of Kim in a Morbid Angel shirt, one of my favorites.
Yeah, they've won Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer. All the
Kanye's wore that Cradle of Filth shirt once.
Cradle of Filth. Yep, Megadeth. Stuff like that. And I understand that they like what you were saying. They like the logos because for bands like us and just people who are doing this kind of music, the main thing for us is merchandise. So we want to make our merchandise look as cool as hell, look as badass as fuck, and being able to sell it to our fans, that you want to give them the best quality print as possible. You know what I mean? So we really put a lot into, our artwork, and how we market it and how we sell it. We put a lot into it. And I can understand why, all those pop artists, commercial artists like Justin Bieber and anybody else who's kind of like used those logos or that type of font to make their t-shirts. I could
Because
see
it
why
looks
they would.
cool.
I could see why they would do it because it would look cool,
Yeah.
Chris. And plus, who? Why not help the genre out? I mean, if she's wearing a Cannibal Corpse shirt and it gets five people who never heard of Cannibal Corpse into it, great.
And
You
you
did
know
your
it will,
job.
because how many people got into Cannibal Corpse because of Ace Ventura?
A lot,
A
and I,
lot.
yeah, a lot.
Because
And I
millions of people saw that movie.
and I know that Jim Carrey is aware of that stuff and probably got him on there because it's pretty humorous, to have a band fucking guttural vocals on
Yeah.
Ace Ventura. I know it's probably more of a comedic thing, but he probably really doesn't know the bands that well. You know what I mean? He probably just
Right.
listened to them at that time just to get them on the movie, and that somebody might have suggested that it was funny.
And from your perspective as an artist, you were kind of
But
saying like, I'd be thrilled if some celebrity wore a Fear Factory shirt.
hell yeah, I'd be retweeting that stuff. I'd put it on Instagram stories, post it, Facebook, you name it. I'd send it to Blabbermouth, whoever I could,
Right.
to say, hey man, Bono's wearing my fucking Fear Factory shirt.
Yeah.
That's cool
Well,
as fuck.
yeah, you kind of did have a similar moment. I remember, when you were on the Mortal Kombat soundtrack,
Hmm.
which I thought was crazy because I knew you guys kind of as like death metal grind kind of band, and then you're in this at the time. That was a really big movie.
It was a
Um,
very
what
big movie, yeah.
what did that do for you guys?
A lot. Oh yeah, a lot. It really took demanufacture to the next level because it's funny, but we were kind of like getting our foot into the video game world, and we were like, giving songs and instrumentals and remixes that we did from our previous album and sending them out to movie companies and video game companies and stuff like that,
And
trying to
nobody was
get
doing
our
that back then. These days, metal and gaming and stuff crosses over a lot, but not back then.
Yeah, and we would try to go to those video game conventions or any of those conventions where we would hand out CDs of instrumentals of remixes and all that stuff, and just trying to get our stuff in the movies or in video games or just placed wherever they would use it to where we can monetize it and make money, obviously. But um, so Mortal Kombat reached out to us. Actually, they reached out to us and said, "Hey, can you write a specific song for the movie?" So we did. It was called Self Bias Resistor.
Oh, I didn't know you wrote that for the movie.
We wrote that for the
It's
movie.
one of
yes.
the best Fear Factory songs.
Yes, one of my favorites. We wrote that for the movie, but we also finished the record. And they're like, well, we like Zero Signal better. We're like, great. It didn't matter because as long as they took one of the songs.
Yeah.
So the song was actually in one of the scenes. It was Johnny Cage and I can't remember, Scorpion were fighting each other. So that song came out in the movie and it was great going to the movie theater and being like, fuck yeah, our song
Yeah.
in that scene. Hell yeah. So of course we told everybody that we knew about it. And it really, that record sold, I think, a couple million copies.
Damn.
And yeah, and it really propelled the record demanufactured to the next level.
That is so insane to think of music that sounds like that selling millions of copies. The 90s were wild.
Yeah. And then we started getting into a lot of, the video game industry didn't fully take us on yet, but a lot of computer gaming started taking us on. So we were really getting our foot in that door there. And then we released the remixes of Demanufacture called Remanufacture. And then boom, the video game world just took off. And we actually were making some pretty good income on that.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I wasn't playing a lot of games then, so I think I missed a lot of that stuff. What games were you in?
Don't ask me. There's a list on Wikipedia somewhere.
Okay, so a lot.
There's a shit ton, yeah.
Okay. And were you guys doing that yourselves, or did you have your publisher do that, or like how did you actually make that happen?
At the time, Roadrunner Records didn't even have a department for that, so we were kind of like doing ourselves. Mainly our drummer Raymond Herrera. He really went out. And
Raymond from Phobia.
Yeah, he played on Phobia record too. Yeah, he went out and really networked that video game world and really got into it, and it basically forced Roadrunner to open a department for that, like a music placement department that would put music, submit music for movies and all that stuff, and do the licensing agreements and all that stuff. So,
wow, so you guys kind of showed them the potential of that as a business.
Correct, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. The things were so different back then that. These days everybody wants placements. I mean, that's like big money, and it's crazy to think that wasn't even on their